Welcome back, everybody. This is Rudy with Alpha Investments, and today we have to answer that one major question. And no, not the question of what size pants or how many pairs of socks does Rudy wear. The question is, are charts really important? No, that's not the question either. The question is, everybody wants to know, what happened to Rudy? Why is he in the deep end? What makes Rudy so wound up, and what was that pivoting moment that caused him to be bitter or to change or to be anti-mutual funds or to change the outlook on investing and to, I'm not here to, why doesn't Rudy sell get-rich-quick CDs? Why? I don't believe in that stuff. Why doesn't... Today we're going to talk about generic investing in the day everything changed for me. Everybody has those moments in their life where certain things happen. And today we're going to talk about the turning point in Creepy Rudy's life. And we're going to talk about that particular day. And you guys are going to hold hands with me, and we're going to walk through the park, and you're going to get a first-hand experience of what it was like to go with me through this experience. Okay? So go ahead and sit down, stop driving, do what you got to do, pause the video. So you need to talk about this. This is what happened. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, this was in 2009. I have been working in a brokerage firm. I've been in the financial industry now for 4 years, okay? 2008 collapse happened. Everything went to hell. I was working on campus at this location at the company, and clients were calling in like crazy. There were hundreds of people on hold, transactions, everybody wanted to sell. The end was near. Everything was falling apart. This was, and, after going through that day in, day out for probably, many months, probably for about a year straight now since things were bad, and the whole country, the economy, the stock market, every small business, layoffs everywhere, everything gone to hell, the end is near. I mean, it's easy for everybody to look back on this stuff now and to talk about it because we all know how it unfolded. We know we're still here today. We know the world didn't end. So it's a lot easier for us to really reflect and to understand what actually happened because we have the hindsight and we are able to actually look at everything on a timeline. In that moment, it wasn't that easy. Nobody actually knew. I mean, legitimately, 100% legitimately, people thought this was it. Like, as stupid and ridiculous as that sounds in normal times, people actually thought this is actually it. I mean, people were calling up on their TI-83 calculators and saying, Rudy, the end is near. I mean, it's so goofy sounding now that it's 2016, but in the moment, I can't explain the feeling and the lack of... It reminds me of magic right now. What started out as a lack of confidence snowballed in 2008, 2009 into a minor recession, which turned into the Great Recession, bunny ears, and that's always the fear of everything. The whole buying or adding to your position when things get lower. The whole catching a falling knife and you keep getting cut. All of these things. So it's about 8 o'clock at night. I'm at my desk. Computer screens. Books everywhere. Typical night, nothing crazy. Worked all day. 8, 9, 10 hours. I don't know what it was for this company. Talked to tons and tons of people. I don't even know how many people, a ton of people. And all of a sudden I hang up with one client and I look around and everybody around me is got up and everybody's gathered around like 10, 15 desks over. Not really cubicles, but kind of desks. It wasn't really cubicles in brokerage firms. And everybody's all wound up and talking. So I hang up the phone, I kind of stand up, I'm looking around, I'm like, what's going on? Why is everybody wound? What the hell is going on? So I walk over, and everybody's gathered around this one workstation, and everybody's going, really? Oh my God, what the hell? WTF? And there's like this huge moment going on. And I'm kind of just sitting there trying to, Creepy Rudy's in the back going, well, show me, what, don't leave me out. I want to be part of the cool kids. And it turns out they pulled up the CEO's bank account. They pulled up his investment account. The head person of the brokerage firm, his personal brokerage investments retirement account. They located it. I don't remember what they were doing. They pulled up all the information on the system internally. You're not allowed to do it. You can lose your job for doing it. But one of the guys pulled it up. So everybody was gathering around and talking about it, this and that. And I mean, I guess it was interesting, I guess, because, you know, the CEO of the account has, you know, of course, or the CEO of the firm obviously has many accounts, but, you know, the bank account was, you know, $10-20 million range, something like that. But the kicker of the whole thing was they didn't lose a single penny through the entire recession. Nothing was lost. And I didn't understand. I'm looking at all my charts. I'm sitting over here going, okay, things are going down. Okay, hold on. I don't get it. I mean, so I'm sitting there and I'm in my head. I'm sitting here thinking. I'm like preaching out to Yoda, trying to figure out what's going on here. And the CEO of the firm, and remember, these companies preach mutual funds. They preach diversification and selling mutual funds for retirement accounts, for regular brokerage accounts, for people who are saving for a 5 or 10 year goal, for people who have children who want to send them to college for 20 years. It's what we were drilled. That's what we were engraved on. That was how we were raised, taught, molded, constructed, and built to think. Was to, after you're a pro, I guess you're considered a professional if you're licensed and doing it for a living. I guess that's technically, didn't really feel like it, I guess, but I don't know, it's weird. But like, I'm trying to figure out a good way to say it, but pretty much I was so confused because this is a really weird story. You guys have to stay with me. I didn't quite grasp what was going on. I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand why the CEO of the company didn't lose money. So when people started walking away, I stood there still for what felt like eternity, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, and I'm looking at this bank account, and it had literally like 300 or 400 holdings and investments inside this account. And as I started looking at them, I go, the very first thing I said to the friends of mine I've been working with for years around me was, I don't understand. Why is the guy who runs the company that we work for tells us to sell everybody mutual funds, but the head people don't own any mutual funds? Why doesn't the head person who constructed the business model have the investments that we're all selling every day? I don't understand this. And things just... I took the red pill and I went down the rabbit hole. And I didn't realize how deep things got. And I didn't that was the beginning, like, of a new era. Like, I could take a timeline, put a marker in the sand, and I could tell you right there, right here, is when everything changed. And I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. You know, and you've heard me say this 100 times already. And that was the part where, how on earth can the people at the top of the ivory tower who taught us and molded us to sell everybody mutual funds, and we sold tons of them. Retirement accounts, 401ks for all the companies that were in agreement with us. You know, just everything. You know, Coverdale's, educational accounts, college accounts, IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, all SEPs. I don't. They're all the same crap with a different name. It's just tax purposes. You know, and it like crashed my hard drive. Like, I was completely just incoherent for probably the next 24 hours, reading books everywhere, trying to figure out, what am I doing wrong, or what do I not what is the problem here? It doesn't make sense. The whole thing it's like you just open Pandora's box and you realize the meaning of life or the purpose of doing something the way everyone around you and the whole world is taught, and you find out that that's not really the truth or the way it's supposed to be. And you're sitting there going, like, you're so speechless. You don't even know how to reply, respond, or to react to stuff like this. It's like you're paralyzed. I should have had an alpha paralyzed card. It's like you're paralyzed because you don't understand it. It reminds me of if you open a ton of modern master boxes and all your foil mythics are comet storms. That's what I feel like. All my foil mythics were comet storms. That's what it felt like in that moment. That moment where you spent all your money or you did something for the longest time and you found out that it wasn't accurate. Like you were like a part of this machine of bait and switch of what they told you or taught you that was intentionally deceptive. So that's how that moment unfolded there. And the very next thing I didn't understand, of course people want to know, well, Rudy, what were the 400 holdings in the account? Well, they were all individual bonds. Mostly municipal, because obviously if you're filthy flippin' rich, you want to avoid all your taxes and pay 0% taxes. If you're not filthy rich, you just get regular bonds and get a higher interest rate because you're not paying a lot of taxes. So he held all individual bonds. And they all had set maturity dates. They all had between single A, triple B, double A, and triple A ratings. They were all investment grade, in other words. A few of them, maybe through the recession, were downgraded from double A to triple A, or I'm sorry, downgraded from double A to single A, and some of them went from single A to triple B plus, and minus on negative credit watch, stable, whatever you want to look at the terms. But it didn't really seem to matter as we pulled the history of the account and we looked further into it, because none of that really mattered anything. It was like in the recession when mortgage-backed securities and mortgage-backed, MBS, just mortgage-backed investment vehicles and different derivatives representing different baskets at the time were all assigned AAA ratings. No matter what tranche was, I don't want to get into all that. I'll lose a lot of people. But the thing was, a lot of the credit scores and credit ratings were really just useless. Nobody really cares. You do your own research and you kind of go your own way. But the thing was, I just didn't understand how a CEO of a brokerage company that taught everybody to invest in mutual funds and taught everybody, or taught all the brokers to teach all the clients to do the same thing, but they weren't doing that at the top. Way up there, they weren't doing that. And that was one of the most eye-opening things I've ever seen in my entire life. And, to have 400 individual bonds in account where they all have a set 4 to 6%, some were 7% interest rates, and they all had set maturity dates, everything was very finite. Everything was very specific. Everything was just, there was no fees, there was no expenses. Everything was just, you get this many dollars every so many months. You get this many. This is when you get your principal back. Everything was so specific, so stable, so just, I understood why the people at the top didn't really care about recessions. I understood why the people at the top don't care about expenses. I understood why they don't care about recessions. Because it actually didn't affect them. If anything, I actually understood why the people at the top sometimes look forward to a recession. Because they're not financially hurt. But they still have a ton of financial money and financial strength coming in, and everybody else is knocked down on their knees, and they start scooping everything up. And it was just the most bizarre-ass thing ever for me. This was a big deal to me. Maybe a lot of you guys watching this are just kind of like, all right. But to me, it was a really big deal for something that I spent my whole life reading tons and tons of books. Years of business school. Corporate finance, currency exchange, international finance, accounting, financial accounting, all this stuff. But then you get to the real world, and all this crap is a pile of shit. None of this stuff, of all these books that they teach in school, with these charts, these graphs, these Bollinger Bands, these moving averages, all this bullshit doesn't matter to the really, really superior people at the top of the food chain. And to me, that changed everything. From that point forward, everything was different for me. I looked at everything differently. I understood that, wow, if I have $10 million in an account, which I wish I would even have close to that, if I had $10 million in mutual funds, and they're charging me 1% a year, holy crap, I'm losing $100,000 a year in fees to some rich guy at the top of an ivory tower. $100,000! Even if you only have $1 million for your life savings or your family or something, you're getting billed $10,000 a year. Are you serious right now? And that's what I'm sitting here going, it's just mind-blowing. And that's what I'm looking at stuff and I'm going, it's like Fight Club. If you watch Fight Club and you think the movie is about fighting, you're destined to just be fail. You're going to fail. You don't get it. The movie Fight Club has nothing to do with fighting. It is a symbolic, whole different the whole movie is symbolism on just cults building something, entrepreneurship, in the financial system, and kind of the thought process of life, regular jobs, feeling alive, and being a drone. There's so many different hidden things in that movie. The average person doesn't seem to even comprehend it. The other half of the country in the world probably never watched the movie because they said, "Oh, I don't care about fighting." And the thing was, you read all these books. You look at all this stuff. How to calculate a stock. How to get rich day trading. How to make money trading the stock market. How to get rich. Buy my get rich program. I'm going to trade options. I'm going to make money. Huge leverage. I'm going to borrow. I'm going to do. At the end of the day, these people who it's like the people who designed the system knew that the regular people were going to behave a certain way, and they designed it that way to make it feel just to have a certain feeling, so that when people bought mutual funds, they're not going to see the fees being taken out every day, every week, every month, because it's removed from the share price. And when you layer and design something where you pull fees from the actual share price, legally you do not have to disclose anything on a statement. The only where it's disclosed is in a prospectus, which nobody reads because it's 800 pages of LOL. And it just tells you that, this mutual fund is going to take 1% of your money every year. Oh, okay, whatever. I don't, and then after they sign the paperwork, they buy the investment. Nobody really remembers, because every time you get a statement, they don't have to disclose it. And people don't get that. So in other words, if your mutual fund, your Vanguard growth fund, or your BlackRock this, your PIMCO that, your American funds this, I don't care, Fidelity this, that, I don't care what you buy. It's like if it goes up 18 cents in a day, they're probably only going to show a 17-cent gain. They're going to pocket the difference type of thing. And it's been going on since the dawn of time. It's not illegal. It's just something that I don't agree with. I don't agree with a system that's designed with the intent to deceive. And that's really what it all comes down to. And there'll be future videos I'm going to do on mutual funds versus different avenues and actual specifics. But I wanted this video to be based around the story time where we go through the books and we look at everything, and I just tell you what happened. When people ask me, "Rudy, when was that turning point for you?" This was the turning point. This was the moment that I knew I was never going to forget. And here we are, 7 years later, and it feels like it was still yesterday. Because it was so surreal. It was so intense. It was so strong feeling. It'd be like the first time you bought a pack of Magic, the very first pack, or the very first time you smelled the Magic card from opening and cracking a pack. It's that very first time, and you notice, and it was just so intense. And, and I just don't, the public doesn't know that. And I think the people who do understand this type of stuff never disclose it to the public. And the ones who do talk about things like this, like me, most people aren't going to believe me, or they're just not going to give a shit. Or they're not going to sit through a 20-minute video. Most people, even who are trying to explain to other people how this stuff works, people aren't open to it. People don't have the open mind and the thought process to really comprehend the significance of something so small, something so seemingly irrelevant. So, I'm done rambling about it, so whatever. The system is very, very, it's like an iceberg. There's a lot that goes on underneath. It's Rudy with Alpha Investments. I hope you enjoyed the story time. I'm on the fence about this episode, but whatever. I wanted to share it. You guys have a great day.